Okay, you are good.
All right. It is December 7th, a day that will live in infamy one way or the other. And this is our monthly regular board meeting of the Old Town Laverne Business Improvement District Advisory Board. We are on YouTube for folks to watch. And Eric, could you just real quickly go through how anybody could comment or respond for the meeting today?
Sure. Any public comment that we received before this right now, which we've received one, which was forwarded to the board, is forwarded to them. Any other public comment that's made now through via email at planning@cityoflaverne.org is the email address, will be made part of the public record. If you wish to participate during today's meeting by phone call, you will need to email your phone number to that same email address, planning@cityoflaverne.org, and we will call you for the public comment portion.
Great. And then Eric and Natalie will be monitoring that. So if you have any comments, please go ahead and send them in. Okay, first thing on the agenda, we have minutes from the November 2nd meeting. If no corrections, do we have a motion to approve those?
I make a motion to approve.
Mary Ann? Who was that?
Me.
Jason, did you second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So approved. Okay. New business, car show extension.
Yeah, so we had discussed the idea or the fact that the car show contract actually expires this coming April. And we've only basically been able to hold half of the car shows that were under that contract. With the uncertainty at this point moving forward, I have had an informal discussion with Craig Hosell, the promoter and operator of our car shows, about just simply doing a simple one-year extension to that contract, absent of renegotiating different aspects or terms. He seemed in favor of that, understanding that the uncertainty at this point, giving it an extra year to hopefully have one or two more car shows under this contract. So it would be an extension until basically April of 2022 is what we'd be looking at. So obviously a formal agreement has to go back to you and then also back to city council, potentially, depending on how I could phrase this extension, because an extension wasn't built into the original contract. But I'm just looking for feedback and discussion on this at this point, and then I would follow back up with some kind of document or action, provided that you were in agreement to those terms.
Okay, any input, comments?
The only comment that I could offer is the issue was Craig Hosell changed the interpretation on his side of who is to provide police security for the event. And I know we had a challenge with that on one of the events. And I think if we could tighten that up somehow to know that the contract does spell out that he is to provide and pay for security.
So a little bit inaccurate there, Chris. The contract is clear that he is not to provide security for the event. He is to provide $750 payment for the Laverne reserve officers to staff the event. The problem has been our reserve program does not have the personnel available to fully staff the event, to where we have to backfill that with on-duty or officers, full-time officers that might be on overtime pay. And so he is not under any obligation under the current contract to pay for those costs. What we had discussed was we wanted to go back to the table with him to talk about and negotiate how those costs might be absorbed by him. And then in exchange, there's some things that he was looking to change too. So it was part of a renegotiation for a new long-term contract. At this point, what I'm suggesting is that we just do a simple 1-year extension, since we didn't have the 3 car show events that we should have had anyways, under the current terms, without going back to the table on those renegotiations. That way we know that we have a promoter that signed on, because those negotiations could turn out to us going out to an RFP to look for another promoter potentially. So I don't think we're in a position to be doing that at this point. That's why my recommendation was just to extend it for 1 year. So we basically hopefully get close to the number of car shows that we expected to have under the current contract. And then we could go back and look at those specific terms that both sides are looking to have modified to some degree.
I think the issue that I remember was not so much security personnel, but was the closing the street, and there was there was going to be a charge for using the police vehicles that he didn't want to have to pay for. Is that correct?
So that's his side that he would like to have modified. He is obligated to be responsible for closure of the street. He liked the idea of the city police vehicles being those barricades. But if he wanted us to do those, then there was going to be a charge for that, because it was his responsibility under the contract. So he went ahead with U-Haul trucks and paid for those, as it was a cheaper rent. But his preference would be to utilize the city vehicle. So that might be part of the negotiation of the city providing those for more payment for security or something like that. Those are those discussion points that still have to be had at some point in the future.
Other comments? In terms of, oh, go ahead.
I think the car show that we've had with him seemed to go off well. So I'd definitely be in favor of extending this temporary contract. And then it sounds like there's plenty to negotiate for a long term, but I don't see any major issues in the short term.
Any other comments?
I'm mainly concerned about the Dibbits finances. We don't have any income for loss of the wine walk, the beer walk, and other events. And I don't want to get into a situation where we have to end up paying any more than the $3,500 that we pay for the car show to have it downtown. Am I understanding that correctly, though, that we would be on the hook for that, Eric?
No, I think at this point, the assumption is that those are costs that the city itself would pay for, the officer's time that is needed for the accurate security. There's a long-term discussion that we wish to have with the board here about security for all events, not just the car shows. And wine walk, beer walk. Once we get back to those events, that there are costs involved with that. So that's a bigger overall discussion that needs to happen. But at this point, for this extension of the car show, our expectation is it would continue to happen as it has been, which the DIBIT hasn't been charged for the extra officer time to be at the car shows. It's been a cost that the city's basically taken on.
Well, I'm all for extending it a year. Craig's been more than gracious with trying to help us around and trying to wait as long as he can to keep things going. So I'm for it.
I think he put on a quality show, and especially from where we came before, it was definite improvement, and I would be in favor of extending the contract. Do we have a motion to?
I don't need a motion at this point. I was just looking for general direction because I do want to bring it back for a formal action. So I think I've heard general support. So I'll bring it back after I can talk to the attorney and Craig some more and get something formal before you.
Okay. Sounds good. Move on down to 4B, proposed Old Town Laverne delivery service.
So I don't have a lot of information on this. Robin Lavander, who owns the Old Town Square where Cactus Coffee is, and she had, her and I had a phone conversation based on her concerns of the street closure and the loss of D Street Wienery, and just what the city might be able to do to help her, and to fill that, or just generally help her as a landlord in Old Town. And she came up, she asked if there was a concept or an idea or support for having the businesses in Old Town kind of get together to basically have one delivery driver that would be responsible for delivering all the business stuff in Old Town. Because she said it wouldn't make sense, for example, for Cactus Coffee to have a full-time person on call for deliveries because they don't have that much. But if there was one that could be shared, maybe that'd be something that would be financially more, so it's not really a divot thing as much, but she was supposed to follow up with more information or more of her thoughts on it. And I never got that from her. So I still promised her I'd put it on the agenda. So if there's, you can discuss it. And then if, based on that direction, see if somebody wants to take that on as a potential program.
Any thoughts?
Is she asking for the restaurants or the businesses down here to pay for a separate driver? Is that what?
I think the idea is that everybody that would participate would pay for that person, right? A portion of them.
So right now they're using Grubhub and all of that. How is that paid, Chris?
Oh, you're muted. Chris, you're muted.
It's an exorbitant amount. We don't do it because you can't control the quality. DoorDash and Uber Eats have been overrun in this pandemic, and our food doesn't travel in a box anyway, but it really hurts the business when something shows up that it's not at the level of quality that someone wanted. DoorDash went as far as to, after we told them no, to create our menu on their website, and somebody ordered a steak to go, and then they didn't get it properly and complained, and we had to call DoorDash, and they said, oh, we do that for businesses that don't want to participate in the full program because we figure it's extra business for you. And if you request that we don't have your menu on our website, then we won't. So we had to shut that down. They're exorbitant, 30%.
Without your permission?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then you're responsible for their taking, and saying, hey, it was terrible service. The steak was cold or this. That's like, wait a minute. Well, that's bad news. I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Very aggressive business model, DoorDash.
Mm.
So Chris, do you feel something like this would be beneficial?
No, well, not for me personally.
No, but the other business, the smaller ones?
I'd like to hear from Kenny and Cafe Wang. I mean, they might, but I'm not sure that the businesses that are thriving on takeout haven't already figured that out. I don't know if there's a big need for that myself. I haven't heard of such a need.
We do our own delivery for the wine shop, and it seems to go pretty well. I don't know how the cost structure would break down based on usage, because I'm sure some businesses would use the driver more than others. I'm open to it, but it seems like a pretty big headache, and our delivery is going well already, so it's not something that I'm interested in taking on.
Sounds like it's something that if she wants to pursue it with the businesses, then that's probably the best way to do it. We would,
Yeah, I would, Eric, encourage her to go recruit the local businesses into her system, and then we could get a better feel for whether or not the local businesses feel the benefit of the program and how it would be structured.
Right. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
all right. We're going to go to item 5A, D Street closure. This is an item that we actually had a special meeting last Wednesday to discuss this item, and we did take an action at that time. I have the motion just so everybody who wasn't on the call to know what the action was. It was to move that the DIBID give the city an indication that a positive, before I read this, let me say, sorry. The California Restaurant Association, Chris can add some details to this if you want, went to court about 2 weeks ago to challenge the LA shutdown of outside dining for restaurants. And that hearing has been pushed a couple of times, and the judge asked the county for additional information. That was supposed to be heard last week, and then that got pushed again, I believe, Chris, till tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the decision will be made.
Yeah. In the meantime, the governor's order into last week, which went into effect last night, that one, some people believe, supersedes the county and kind of makes the court action moot. But as of right now, it appears that the hearing is still scheduled for tomorrow. Is that right, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah. So we really don't know any more information on that front than we did a week ago. But the motion was to give the city an indication that a positive court decision for outdoor dining, meaning that it would allow outdoor dining again, would allow the city to leave the street closed the way it is, restaurants to open back up on a time frame that's suitable for the county. However, if a decision goes the other way, that the city start to begin the process of scheduling and reopening the street following the county's order. If no clear decision was coming from the court, we'd revisit it at this meeting today. So as of right now, we have no new information. There is a fair amount of concern and difference of opinion among the businesses, Old Town. I'll open it up at this point for comments, and we need to, so just to say that we already have a motion and a vote on the table to basically follow based on what the court does or doesn't do. So the question is, do we want to revisit that? Do we want to let that stand, modify it, whatever? So comments.
Has anybody talked to the restaurants down here to see what they think? What is the consensus of all the restaurants?
I'll start off with that. I've spoken with several, and I've spoken with others who also have talked to some. I believe at this point that the majority of restaurants and non-restaurants would prefer that the street be reopened if they're going to be able to have outdoor dining. That they, the concerns I've felt or I've heard are it hurts takeout by taking up all the parking and having the street closed. It gives an appearance of the downtown being, vacant. So that's the general feeling. But obviously there's some difference of opinion down there, and pretty strong difference of opinion in some cases. So other comments on that? I know, Tim, you talked to some of the businesses, and Chris, you have, and others, I think.
Yeah, I have. I just want to hear from everybody else, because I walked there yesterday and took a cruise through there, and it's pretty depressing. Although Mickey was busy. Lordsburg was doing some, takeout. A lot of the restaurants were closed. I walked into Warehouse; they were open, but Cafe Wing was open. But House of Wings and Argos and the Corner, the sushi place were closed. The other grill was closed. Donut shop was closed, but it was also, it's like 1 o'clock, 1:30 on a Sunday, but it's so depressing. The only thing that perked me up any was the Christmas trees in Monero Square, which was wonderful to see Christmas trees and some kind of Christmas celebration. But, on the city's part, and Development Director Shear will attest, the city is willing to do whatever the divot wants us to do, and to continually push with Chamber to continually shop locally and support our businesses. This is just it's just depressing. It's very, very serious, very depressing. Some people will not survive this, but again, we want to do whatever works with the businesses to keep everybody, as many people coming down and taking to go. My only concern, as a personal concern, is if you take that area out of there, is, it's almost like we're defeated, because you're taking that out and you're opening it back up. People love that closed down there, but unfortunately, every area is closed now. You can't do any outside dining, any inside dining. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are bucking that system. I know that Orange County here in Fullerton, I think that there's going to be people bucking that system and not adhering to it. We're in a tough situation. So
Claremont. Yeah.
There's restaurants in Riverside down in Temecula that aren't going to.
Could I interrupt for just a second here? Hold on just a moment, if we could. Eric, I got a text from Mickey that she is going to have to use her phone and she needs the dial-up information. Can you send that to her? You guys
It's
hear?
on the email.
She just said, that's just what she said.
I've taken a poll down there. There does not seem to be any appetite for dining outside to go against the county and now the state order for any business except for one. That one business owner is adamant that it's going to kill his business if the street gets opened up. But privately, 6 or 7 other owners on the street have very clearly stated that they have been patient for 6 months, or the length of time that the street's been closed. They've enjoyed it being closed, and they feel like this is the time to reopen it and follow the rules, and then subsequently close it back down once outside dining's allowed again. But this one particular business owner is causing a very loud and raucous response, especially to me, and believes that I am, and Jeff is not supporting him by not serving on our patios when we're following the rules. So I think we took an action, and I think we should stick with that action. And so the DIBA doesn't really need to say anything today other than if tomorrow the court case decides that LA County overstepped their bounds, then I think we then have to defer to the state. And Governor Newsom's order, which is we're in Southern California region and we're over 90% ICU bed capacity, and therefore we're a stay-at-home order, which means there is no outside dining. I'm not happy about it. I'm disgusted by the behavior of our leaders. I was in a meeting with the Claremont restaurateurs yesterday morning, and there's 12 of them that are bucking the system. I listened to the entire Glendora City Council meeting and their support for their businesses and allowing them to order takeout and sit on their patio is very clear. I hope our same council makes that same declaration tonight. But I can't in good conscience listen to the one guy and ignore the other 7 businesses who believe that following the rules is the right thing to do, and that, you know, their business would be better off if the street was open and their takeout would be better.
Eric, I have a question. In a lot of the areas where they're doing the curbside pickup style, they've allotted a couple of like parking spots that are designated for that. If we open the street back up, can each of those locations have 2 spots in front for just curbside pickup?
I think
Is that
if the
possible?
businesses were all in agreement of doing something like that, that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, because I think if we're going to do something like that, we've got to be able to make it even easier for people to come and get it. A lot of people don't want to go in because, you know, you can drive around when you go to like Habit and places like that. You just text them and say you're outside and they run the food out. So if we could make that better for them for the time being, that would maybe drive a little bit more business to them.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Okay.
Hey, you guys, I'm sorry I'm so late. My internet went out in the store. I was trying to fix it. This is Mickey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
okay.
you hear Mickey, did you hear the early part of the discussion, or did you just join right now?
No, I just got on when Chris was just talking.
Okay. Just quick recap that because we did take an action last Wednesday, voting basically to follow the court order, whether it was up or down in favor of restaurant dining, to follow that. But the state order may supersede that. We don't really know how that affects. But the question is, do we want to revise that motion from last week, or just let that stand? I'd like to add another thing that personally, Tim mentioned this. I've been going down there every day and just taking a look around. I was really surprised yesterday that apparently Wilder Spa is now gone. Eric, did I hear you to say that the Wienery is closed now?
Yeah,
Permanently?
they have it for a couple weeks now.
Okay. I must have gotten one of the last hot dogs. You know, I hope this isn't a trend, but with salons closed and the other state of affairs, this could be bad. It just has a real death-filled feeling down there. If the street is opened and parking spaces are available, I fully concur with what Marianne said. I was thinking the same thing, that have some designated spaces. I saw that 4th Street Mill put up a sign and created their own pickup area there on Anita. In addition, we've already allocated money for social media. We could program some of that money immediately into some social media marketing that, you know, these are the restaurants that are open for takeout. We've got, you know, very convenient parking spaces right in front for you to come pick up your stuff. Those that want to do delivery, they list that information. But I think we could take a proactive approach to, you know, letting people know what's out there. So the question right now, as I see it, is, do we continue to wait for what the court might do, or do we give the city direction right now to either leave it closed or open it up? Other comments?
I'd like to hear what
Well,
Chris, how do you feel about it? Chris?
How do I feel about it?
I mean, do you think we should wait till the court order tomorrow, or just because you're in that area? So
The answer is simple. The state overrides the county.
then we're done.
If we're going to ignore the county order, we'd already have done that. We're waiting for a court to tell us that the county overstepped its bounds, which I believe they will. The evidence is clear. Fox News again this morning, the Surgeon General said they have no evidence, none, that outside dining has caused the spread of COVID. Furthermore, LA County's own contract tracing shows it 11th on the list of 10 other places that you can get it. So I think we'll win that. But Governor Newsom lives in a world where he believes that these ICU beds are the key. I'm not going to disagree with that science. And I say, okay, reluctantly, the state overrides the county. And if the state says there is no dine outside, that's another lawsuit. That's another fight or compliance. So how is that benefiting the other businesses who quietly say, let's open the street and give it a chance to keep the street closed for the one business? I'm not seeing it.
Thank you.
Nikki, you were going to comment?
I was just going to say, you know, everybody that comes in here just says how depressing it is down here. And, you know, nobody is utilizing the seating except Mike. And throughout the day, there's maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 different tables. I mean, if he still wants to do that, he could do that on the side patio. I mean, you know, I think we need to open the street. It just looks like everybody is closed down here.
I'm going to
And at
agree
least
with
if
Nikki.
the street was open, you could pull up, get your food quickly, pull up, go to the children's shop, go to my shop, go to Frank's shop, go to the other businesses that have, and look, I want to support the restaurants, but at this point, I just think there's nothing to support because we have, you know, at a good time, 5 people sitting on the street. That's not enough. And I also know that the city of Los Angeles, instead of them fighting this suit, they've hired an outside attorney. So this is probably not going to, even if it was overturned tomorrow, and like Chris said with Newsom, it's probably going to drag on longer than even tomorrow. They're not even using the city lawyers. They've hired an outside defense for this.
Eric,
So,
what is the procedure to close the street once it's open. Get good news in between Christmas and New Year's and the 3 weeks is up and suddenly the ICU beds have dropped down below and the state order is listed. Can Public Works within a day close the street back down again?
Yes. They did. We did July 1st. We did it within hours of the outdoor dining being allowed to reopen. We had the street reclosed within, I think, 6 hours.
I think the biggest thing is that they're taking down all the tents by the merchants. So that's going to take some time and also reinstalling. But, you know, the university's made it available to take down and store barricades within the parking lots. I think for easy access that we can remove stuff. I think we need to coordinate with the businesses to take down and reinstall their tents. That will give us a better timing of how we can implement.
I think it's reasonable that the business owners that have tents out in the street need some time. You can't just say you got 2 hours and we're opening the street. So if Eric, if you guys, the city were to look at like tomorrow night or Wednesday or whatever it is, probably 48 hours would be enough time. And we'd also hear on the court case in that period of time as well. So it's not going to happen this afternoon for sure.
No, I would suggest that the earliest we would be able to do it with proper noticing today would be Wednesday at some point of reopening the street.
Any other comments on this? Have we received anything from the public?
I have not.
Would we be able to get the, open for curbside parking allocated also by Wednesday?
Yeah, that we'll probably just put some delineator cones with some temporary signs posted on them saying curbside pickup only or something like that, and place it in front of the spaces directly on the curb right there. So it's clear. So that'd be easy.
I know that Red Devil and some of the other places have buckets, like a Homer bucket with concrete in it with a little sign, something that it works very well. And if people stay away from those because they know it is for pickup. But again, I'll reiterate, as Director Scheer said, we're going to do everything possibly we can. And I know the chamber is going to do everything possibly they can. And the DIBID to keep people here locally, get your gas, get your groceries, get your stuff. I bought some kids' clothes, some Christmas outfits. They were on a real good deal at the little kids' clothing store there. 50% off, 30% off, but I will say that it was a ghost town yesterday, and it's very, very eerie feeling, but I don't like opening up any more than anybody else. And I do agree with Chris that these decisions that were made may not have any scientific background, but where we're at, we need to move ahead. We'll work diligently. I know the council, I know the City Manager Russi and Director Scheer will do anything we possibly can. If we open it and we close it, it'll be done quickly, swiftly to get us back on our feet again, because these are some unbelievable times right now. But, you have my word as mayor, and also I know the council and the city manager and Director Scheer and everybody else will do everything we can to help.
Thank you.
Chris, do you know, is Roberta's and Cafe Wong's tent rented, or did they purchase those?
I think Roberta's bought it.
Okay.
He showed me.
I'm just concerned, is there going to be inventory for a reopen for if they rented it, or are they going to run into issues like that too?
I don't know.
I think Pancho was planning on buying it. He showed me the picture of the one he was going to buy, so I assume he did that. Not
Okay.
Eric, would you be able to, as part of the notice, then you can ask that anybody that would like to have a couple of curbside spaces in front of their location. And I wouldn't limit it to just restaurants, and pretty much anybody that wants a curbside short-term park in front of their space.
So to be clear, Roots is shut down. Wild Earth has gone out of business. Mickey's, you can open up at 20% capacity, right?
Right. But Roots isn't shutting down.
What is?
She's not shutting down.
Oh, so, okay.
Well, I mean, Okay,
Yeah. the
sorry.
order said
Anyways, go ahead. Yeah, I can be open 20%.
You're allowed to be at 20%. Hair salons and nail salons have been ordered to shut down, but whatever they decide to do, you know, I just want to be clear that, you know, there's other businesses down there that will benefit this, and I think they will. And we have to help out everyone as much as we can.
And I think if we're, like you said, if we can get the curbside pickup, it'll drive more business down here because people will do curbside. So whatever we can do, and then maybe some of us, because I'm starting to decorate too, maybe some of the D Street areas, if we decorate it up a little bit for Christmas, it'll bring some happiness back down here. People will come back.
Eric, are we going to Director Scheer, are we going to install the Christmas banners and stuff here fairly quickly? If they do that, are we going to immediately install some banners across there for the Christmas to get some the holiday
The
message?
decorations that we do have are up now. We typically don't have a banner.
Not banners.
The banners
Our
usually
Christmas
are advertising for
decorations
Winter
are
Wonderland
up
or some other event. So.
Do we have anything else that we could put up as far as like we had before, you know, shop local, support your local businesses? I know we had some banners like that, stuff that we have that we could just really blast it down on Bonita and even our corridor, just to let them know when you're entering that, man, shop. Said in my meeting last week, you know, eat, shop, and pray in Laverne. That's what we got to do. So if we could get some special banner or something just to help, you know, just to throw out there. I don't know what we have.
You know what we could possibly order? You know how we have the poles outside for the beer and wine walk? Maybe we could order some festive banners that could just go on the planters on those poles.
Oh, the hangers.
I mean, just an idea.
Yeah.
I think anything to bring Christmas out and bring to shop Laverne is anything we need to do as a group and as a city. We need to do it. We need to do it immediately if we can. It's just.
Well, we need to bring a positive environment because
That's
right
correct.
now
I agree.
everybody's in a positive environment.
Well, you know,
At least bring that out. It'll help.
we need to make the best out of this ugly situation, period. You know, so, and I'll do whatever I can and whatever we need to do, but I think it's important.
Eric, are you comfortable with the the motion that we have from last week, or do you need some clarification?
Well, your motion was all predicated on the county's lawsuit or the lawsuit against the county. But based on the discussion, it sounds like because the state order, I would amend it to reflect the state order for how long the closure is to last, or the reopening is to last, basically.
Chris, you made the original motion. Did you want to offer?
Not really.
Okay.
I've got a target on my back from a business owner who doesn't like me now because I'm taking this stance.
Okay, so would somebody like to make a motion clarifying that the consensus is that absent any imminent court action, the recommendation is to reopen the street?
Craig?
Yes?
Just a.
I think the city should make that motion because
No,
they
no,
closed the street
no.
and none of us want to do it.
No, I'm sorry, Director Scheer. We're under the guise of what you guys want us to do. Yeah, thanks, Mickey. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a meeting when you guys closed the street. You just closed it.
I'm gonna put that on Director Scheer, but I just somebody had sent me something. What's being missed at this time? Effort and money spent to erect those outdoor dining structures, which we just talked about it, as mandated to us when indoor dining was banned. This outdoor dining banned for 3 weeks. Why would you force us to deconstruct those structures? I think we've already discussed that. Unfortunately, that's from an individual that's down in D Street. I think we've discussed that at length. So anyway.
All right, I'll make the motion. I'll be the bad guy. So I'll make the motion to.
Jason. Okay. We have a second for the motion. I will second the motion. If there's no other comment, in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Nay.
So I count 4 plus Matt in favor and 1 opposed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there's your direction. Nobody's happy about it. And, I got to say that Old Town Laverne, one of the things that makes it so unique and special is it's all owner-operated businesses. It's a family down there, and nobody wants to hurt anybody else. And this is a situation where I think we're acting in the best interest of the business community as a whole, and hope and pray for things to get back to normal as soon as possible. And greatly appreciate Eric, staff's assistance on all this, and Tim, the city council's support for responding quickly back in July when we closed the street, and just being part of the loop through this whole process. So thank you. After that, we can move on to we've got alternate board member interest.
Just, I still haven't received any interest for the alternate board position. So again, please talk to your fellow business owners. And Old Town doesn't need to even be the owner; it could be an employee that's interested in being on this board. So
okay.
Please spread the word.
And something may have changed a little bit, Chris. Your situation is not where you thought it was a couple of months ago. Are you wanting to continue on board until something shakes out with your?
Yeah, the sale of Chase's has been on hold until the COVID situation resolves itself. The girls' investors have paused, and they're still interested. It's still going to happen, but they've decided to wait to see the outcome of the Georgia elections as well as the COVID outcome, because at this pace, Chase's doesn't do well at takeout. They know it. Exactly, he's doing okay. But we can't pay rent in that building when we have no Chase's outside dining or even takeout. Takeout doesn't work for our food. So there's a real chance that Chase's might not make it. If we're closed through February and the powers that be believe that the pandemic rules the health of the small business person, which is happening all over America. I don't know. So I'll be on the board for the time being as an owner. And if you guys decide that you can replace me with somebody, I'm more than happy to step aside as well.
I think we're fine just rolling on for the interim time, unless anybody objects to that.
no, Chris is an asset as far as I'm concerned. So
I would
as
ask,
you're willing to stay.
Yeah, I would ask one thing of the mayor. I got you on a public forum, Mayor. The Glendora City Council made it very clear in their public comments at the end of their meeting that they're supportive of their businesses, and went as far as to say that they are not going to enforce any action against the business that is in violation of COVID order. Now, it's very clear. I listened to the entire meeting. It was 5-0. They all said it. Their business manager proposed it. We were visited by a police officer, a good friend of the restaurant, the other day, and said that he's been directed by the city upon a second complaint by the citizens of a COVID disobeyance, if you will, that they will write a report on the second complaint, and then it goes to the city, and the city then will report it to the health department. Is that true, that the city is going to write a report on its own businesses from a citizen complaint, albeit the second one, that then gets forwarded to the health department?
I can't answer that question, Chris. I'll have to check with Director Scheer and also Bob Russey and also the chief and find out what's going on. Again, we have our undying support for businesses, but I will have to check into that. I'll look into that.
It would be great if we could hear it in tonight's meeting in some form. I hear your concern. I hear your passion for the businesses that are going under, but there is cities that have gone a little bit further, even though it's in violation of what the county says for you to do. But if the police, like the deputy sheriff in Riverside County and even Alex Villanueva, has gone as far as say they're not going to enforce it, why would our own Laverne police come into Chases and say, we have to follow up on a COVID complaint because you had two people standing too close together and we have to turn you into the health department? That's really upsetting, where the business owners that I've heard from are like, we need Laverne to not do that. We need Laverne to stand down and take those citizens and their complaints for what they are. Now, if you're serving a 15-year-old alcohol, that's a different story. But if someone's complaining that there's a table sitting, someone sitting on a table outside eating to-go food, and the police are going to come and write a report and submit it to the health department, what? That's not happening in Claremont or Glendora. I can tell you that, and I've verified it.
Well,
So I sure hope Laverne can make a stance like that.
And I understand your frustration, and our police department does have other more important things to take care of in our community. And I think that we'll have that discussion. I know that this is, I don't know, Chris, I can't answer that, but I have gotten calls from people on the other side of the fence where they've seen people after the call of the, closure, that there were people dining in, multiple restaurants. And it's like, okay, I got it, but I will discuss that with Bob, City Manager Russi and Director Scheer, and we'll figure it out.
There's a solid stance from the Orange County Sheriff. Did anybody see that? I have the letter.
Oh,
And that
several
one was,
sheriffs.
yeah,
Wow.
that was pretty solid about how they feel that it's not the police department's job to police us personally as to how we handle our health. So if Laverne could take a stance similar to that, it would be great, because they've got more things to do than run around saying, oh, gee, you're standing too close together. That's a personal thing.
Well, I think our reliance is on the Los Angeles County Health Department. I think that's one of our stances. It's the Los Angeles County's Department of Health's responsibility. But again, I know that Riverside County had a very staunch from their sheriff's, the chief of the sheriff's department. And again, you have to be careful when you branch away and you go rogue. We have to be very careful of that. We have to watch ourselves closely, but at the end of the day, we need to protect our businesses. I am a business owner, as you all know, and it's not good. And we will work together as a team at the city, and we'll have that discussion to find out what our mantra is going to be as far as how the policing goes, and how LA County's involved in our own agencies. But again, Director Scheer and City Manager Russi will have that discussion with council. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right. Agreed. Eric, any city reports?
Nothing else.
Jason, University?
Nothing.
I'm having problems with my internet.
Marketing, Mickey, anything?
I couldn't hear if you said something, Jason.
I have no.
No, I don't really have anything.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody had mentioned something about making some posters so we could put it online. If somebody else could actually, I know I'm head of marketing, but I'm slammed with trying to get my business going and doing online orders and that kind of thing. If somebody could call Taylor about that, and just, we could figure out who's going to be open, who's doing curbside, and who's open. He would make a PDF, and then I could post it online.
What about Jer? Is he able to help you with social media, some marketing, put some money into that? Okay.
No.
All right. Leah, anything from you?
We are still promoting the scavenger hunt through December 31st. I know it's difficult with everything down, but we'll keep putting some dollars on social media behind it. We're also, today's the deadline for applying for our Excellence in Laverne Business of the Year Awards. So if you want to nominate yourself or nominate another business. We'll be receiving applications today. And if you have not already, please do so. Run the activation card for the Shop Laverne e-card. Just, it's like running any MasterCard, and you run a 10 cents or a 1 cent, depending on your merchant services charge. That will get you activated, and we are starting to promote that card as well. So we're hoping people will buy a Shop Laverne e-gift card this year that can be used similarly to a Visa or a MasterCard, but it's only eligible to use at Laverne businesses.
Leah, can you say again who we get that from? Because that email, I didn't even pay attention to it because I didn't know who the sender was. It's like Yiffy or something.
Yeah, Yifty is the company, but I can email. I have everybody's links as well, so I can email you the link.
I
You
did
sent
get
it to
another
me
one
too,
from
Leah?
them, but again, the original one I didn't pay attention to because I was like, I don't know who this is. I just deleted it.
Right.
So, yeah. So maybe if people knew that that was the name, they would then, you know, open it possibly.
Okay.
I'm going to have to leave.
I have to leave. Well,
Continue if anybody has anything further to say. Thank you all. Appreciate your hanging in there on this, and we'll take it as it comes.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
yeah, Merry Christmas, Eric. I think that's it.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, real quick, don't forget
Merry
to support Chase's thing tomorrow. I just got to put that out.
Yeah, they're
Doing
get
Giving
takeout
Tuesday
from
tomorrow.
Chase. It's to help the children in the city of Hope who are dying of cancer.
So bring your
Right.
toys.
Guys,
Okay.
Eric,
Bye.
meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.